I'm going to take a look at this Honda with the Honda carburetor, but this is an aftermarket carburetor, so I'm going to give you guys a little bit of insight into what I found with this carburetor and some of the issues you can run into with aftermarket carbs. Some of the machines that I do, you guys comment that, you know, you could buy an aftermarket carburetor for that, and I bought one, it worked out really good or whatever, and that's often true. This carburetor runs well, but it has a problem, and it's something that you guys might find to be the case. Let's say you take your engine apart, in this case it's a Honda or whatever, and you match up the carburetor online and it comes in and you go and put it on and you have a no start scenario, right? In this case you'll see it, I'll show you. It starts with a little bit of primer, it starts with a little bit of fuel, whatever you shove in there, hot shot, I use 2-stroke sometimes, whatever. Starts a little bit on the choke. It starts but it doesn't run. Anyway, let's get into the video, and I want to show you guys what I found and what to look out for and just to be mindful of, and we'll talk a little bit about at the end why I think it's the case. So let's get started. Choke on. Contact. Hold on. See, that's what it was doing, but it would never recover. Right, you gotta race that choke. You know, we got fuel, the fuel's on. So if your machine is doing this, right, we're gonna fix it. I'm just gonna take a little bit of fuel in a bottle here. You can use starting fluid, a little raw fuel, and we're gonna see how it reacts to that. No choke, just that. Okay, so we know we could have even a clog in the valve or in the filter, and we'll take a look a little bit deeper now. Let's just try it again, see if we can get it to flow. Alright, so she's fuel starving. Let's take a look. So we see in this case that she's starved for fuel. And so we've tried the choke. Initially it kind of runs. We've tried adding some fuel in through the front of the carburetor. Initially it runs and then it shuts off. Now I've gone over, at this point now I've gone over a plug and I've drained the bowl. We're going to take a look in the bowl one more time. We saw a little bit of water, but I verified, I've cleaned out the tank. The tank is good. We sucked it, take a look. We looked inside. I found a little bit of water in the bottom of the tray that I captured, very small amount. Everything is clean. As far as we can tell, everything is good to go. The motor wants to run. Now we're going to take a peek at that bowl one more time, and if we have to, we're going to have to pull the carburetor. Got my tray handy. I've shut the valve off because we just want to know if is there fuel in the carburetor. I've already verified, like I said, that everything is clean and good to go. Well, I'm not getting anything. Okay. We're not getting anything, so that means the float might be stuck. So what we want to do is we're going to turn that valve on, and now we're getting fuel, see? So remember I said to you, you could bang it. Here we go. All right, let's shut it off. That's a good amount of fuel. Let's shut it off. All right, that little bit of junk could just be from, you know, what I'm doing over here. Let's turn it back on again. Yep. Okay, now let's put that float bowl back up. It's tight. Let's turn our valve on. We'll give it a minute and I'll retest. Just looking for any leaks. Alright, choke came off already. Let's take the rocker cover off. And I think what's happening is it's getting stuck. Yep. Let's put some more fuel in it. And see if she starts. We know fuel goes through, so this is a problem that can happen. For whatever reason, this float bowl is getting stuck in here. And that's why I say you may need to take the carburetor apart and get in there, and maybe there's just a piece of junk right where it could have come down through and gotten stuck on that needle valve. And I'm willing to bet if I just reach underneath here and loosen this up, it's going to do the same thing. Right? I don't feel any fuel. Yeah, that float bowl, there's no fuel dripping down. And I don't even have the, we know the valve is working. And now I'm starting to feel it. A little bit. Let's open that valve up again. A tiny amount, here it comes. There it is now. Yeah, she doesn't want to stay. Let's get that carburetor off. All right, let's take a peek. One thing I do notice, now, that float bowl, or that float, rather, is not parallel to the gasket surface. And typically, that's what you want. So what's happening is it's not filling up the carburetor. So let's just take that off. Yeah, this is aftermarket. This is a replacement carb. It's all clean. All right, so what we're going to do, it's fine, okay? That's our goal. Whoop, actually popped that off. That's okay, because it's kind of in our way. So we're going to hang the float. Make sure there's no junk on the float. There's a little seed on there. And hang that float. I wonder if that's catching it on there too. Make sure the float goes down and in. Put it back on again. All right, you see? Now what we need to do is lift up on this tab. Now I'm going to see if I can just pick up on this a little. I don't like that. So what I want to do is take this back out and take this one, I think. Grab it and try to just move it up a little bit without bending the whole tang, just this tang. Yeah, it doesn't really want to go. All right, now also when it pivots this one in the back, which that seems to clear. All right, I'm just going to try it and see if it did anything, as I don't, we only want enough. Okay. Oh yeah, it made a difference. Okay. We want to get it. What's happening is this is allowing the amount of fuel, more fuel to come in. We want it about here. So if we can hold that, and maybe, I don't like doing it this way, but let's just see. I don't want to pry on the needle either. So if I could just kind of reach in here and give it a chick. Yeah. That's it. That's better. Still not enough. Yeah, that's just about perfect. All right, I think we're going to try that. That's just about perfect. So I'm going to go with that. Also, it was, now when it was hanging upside down, I mentioned to you that it was getting caught. Okay? It's stuck. Look, it's stuck now. It's actually stuck. It won't come back up. And what we want to do is we want to bend this tang now in. And we might be able to just do that with a screwdriver. So this is an issue with dealing with aftermarket carburetors. So we're going to kind of hold the carb firmly and press that tab in a little bit and then hang it. Still getting stuck. So it's opening up too much. It's getting caught. So we're going to have to humor it. We have to bring it in a little bit more. It's up, almost. Almost. Now, yeah, it's a piece of junk. And look, now it totally changed everything. It bent everything. See, now it's going in too far. So these are really crap. Hold on, let me do that again. Put the pin back. But, you know, we should be able to finagle it. Yeah, see, now it went too far. So we got to humor it. So what we might have to do is bend it back. So I'm going to hold that float. I'm going to push the tab in. Yeah, she don't want to do that. She's not happy. Let's take it back out and give it a check. We got to bend this down a little. We should be able to get it with a little bit of finagling. You know, they set them kind of close from the factory, but there's quality control, and it's not a Honda carburetor. Okay, so now she's up too high, right? But let's see. We have to also correct the issue with it drop. All right, so she's not getting stuck now. Right, when you hang it down, what it was happening is the float was not coming up, it was just stuck. So that's not happening. And now we need to just drop it down a little bit, which means we need to come up a little bit more. Well, that's perfect. That's just about perfect. Now let's see if it gets stuck. Nope. It's not getting stuck. Make sure we're hanging right on the pin. If I tilt it too far, but I'll give you another little view in a minute. Let me go to the other camera. And it's parallel, basically parallel. It probably could come up a little bit, but it should shut. Hold on. Make sure that pin doesn't fall out. All right, we'll know. I mean, if it overflows, then we'll have to come back. Let me show you on the other camera. So it's parallel. And the other thing that was happening was that in this normal position is it was getting stuck. Okay, and now it's fine. And so it's a combination of that tang, playing with this tang versus that tang. Everybody likes a good adjusted tang to get it set right. And we're going to go with this. We're going to try this. So I'm going to put it back. So here the gasket is seated. I think it could be up a little higher. And I'm hoping it doesn't overflow. And just give it a good tightening. Okay, let's go install it. Just grab a quick bite. Everything seems fine. Don't over tighten it. Again, 1/4 inch drive. Remember that phenolic spacer, you'll break it. All right, we're golden here. All right, I don't see anything else wrong with it. Let's bring it down. Let me just straighten up a little bit. Put the air cleaner back on because we want to make sure that everything is, you know, correct for our test. We checked the choke. Fuel is on. It's not leaking. I felt around. I don't feel anything. Test time. All right, now once again, with the choke, it's the race, right? Because it'll start coming off as soon as I pull the bail back. I'm going to bring it outside and let it run a little bit, burn off whatever's in there because it's sinking it up in here. So hopefully these few tips were helpful to you guys. Remember, you know, cleaning everything out, it's air cooled, so that's pretty important. Again, on the aftermarket carburetors, it is kind of a bit of, you know, as mechanics, it's a bit of a bane to our existence. Most mechanics will complain about them. Look, this carburetor is very inexpensive, and you might want to check out the companion video to this. When I started working on this thing quite a while back. There's actually a couple of them on this old stainless steel MTD. It's a nice machine, and it needed a carburetor. And you may open up your float bowl and look in there, and it's all, yeah, you'll know. And then what are you going to do, right? You want to spend the money for a brand new carburetor or send it to the mechanic? You might throw the machine out, in which case I'll get it. And I'll put one of these carburetors on it. And as it turns out, it actually runs the machine quite well, but there is this little hitch. I would say, I don't know if every brand of aftermarket carburetor is going to cause this problem, but this one certainly did, and you might miss it. I missed it, and I'm experienced, but like I said, it's kind of the bane to our existence here. It's new territory. These carburetors are new territory to a lot of us, but it's very inexpensive to put a carburetor on a machine like this and get it running good. It's certainly a worthy machine. And with these few tips and tricks, you can determine whether or not you need a carburetor. And if you do, and you buy an aftermarket one, hopefully this is helpful. Now, I just want to say, it could also be, I don't know what the copy protection, what do they call that? Not copyright. You know, like when you go and you have a design on something, I just can't think right now. You have a design on something and you go to the patent office and you get a patent on something that could last for years, or it may be very short-lived. I don't remember if it's 7 or 10 years for patent limitations. And it may be that these Chinese aftermarket manufacturers just have to change enough of the carburetor, not necessarily to improve the design, but so that they don't have a patent infringement issue. And this guy, and maybe they patent that. And then the next guy comes along and says, well, I could make that carburetor too, so I'm going to do this to it. Again, not necessarily improving it. Whatever those issues are, it winds up in the lap of the homeowner, you know, the user, end user, and the technician and mechanic trying to fix these things. So that's something to look out for. I will see you guys on the next one. Again, check the links down in the description. There's a number of videos on older ones when I first started. You know, because it's a cool old MTD machine with a stainless steel deck. It's never going to rot. I went over the wheels. They were starting to rot a little bit, right? But it's got real bearings in it, which are replaceable. And I got the adjusters working again. He got a blade sharpening. Plug is always an issue to keep an eye on. Cables, right? I lubricated it. He loves this machine. He's going to be real happy that this problem is fixed, and hopefully you guys will too. I'll see you on the next one.